Hello there and welcome to another review of The Shield Dude in the Couch. That's me, Hector, The Shield Dude in the Couch, and tonight we're gonna talk about the new Rolo Tomassi album that just came out last Friday. Last Friday was a huge release day. There were so many albums, and this was an album that I didn't want to miss talking about. And the new album is called Where Myth Becomes Memory. And this album, it's an album full of contrast. There's harsh vocals, there's clean vocals, there's a yin and a yang, and everything flows together great. You know, there's some bands that could not pull this off, but this band does, and it is really something very unique and special when you listen to it as a whole. So the album has 10 songs, it's like 48 minutes in length, so it's a good length for an album. You know, it goes by fairly quickly. And as I said before, there's lots of experimentation with this band. This is what I would call like an avant-garde metal, because there's experimentation and lots of it in this album. So for those of you that don't know, Rolo Tomassi is a band from England that was formed around 2005, and they have 7 albums. So with this album, on their last one, there was a lot of hype on the last album, and that's when I discovered them. I can't say that I listened to them for years. I discovered them a few years ago, and I thought they were a really interesting band. So when I heard that they were gonna put out a follow-up album, I was waiting for it because I thought that it sounded interesting. So this album has some great songs on it, and it starts with album opener Almost Always, and that's a more atmospheric number with some lush vocals that for 5 minutes it's so serene, so peaceful. There's some parts where the guitar builds up a little bit mood, but it stays in a more like atmospheric. Think of a band like Anathema, for example. That's the sort of vibe that song goes into. But then it goes to the second song called Cloaked, and in that song it starts all like with some djent riffs, and it really starts like pummeling, like really great riffs. But the song goes like way different at the halfway mark, and it has some 80s synths on it, and it sounds very 80s, and there's some other clean vocals on it on top of that they sprinkle around in this song. This song is a great example of what this album sounds like, because there's the harsh vocals, there's the clean vocals, there's some shoegaze elements to the song, there's some 80s synth, and there's even some black metal style of singing. So this is it's the perfect song for you to get into what this album sounds like, because it covers all the bases that they do on this album, and it's a great song. I see why they released that as a single. And the band keeps the experimentation going with Mutual Rain. Mutual Rain is a song that starts with a single piano, and it's like hitting the piano softly, and then there's a drum beat that comes into it, and it starts building and building, and then it goes full-on blast beats, like black metal vocals in your face, like really harsh, like all of a sudden, and you're like, whoa, where did this come from? Because like I didn't expect that it was gonna go so hard so fast, like how it kept building until it went full pace. And it's an amazing song. That it's one of the best songs in the album, one of the hardest songs. There's another one called Labyrinthine. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but that's another song that's one of the more potent songs on the album. But it also has clean vocals, because this is what this album does great. It goes from one extreme to the other flawlessly, and you almost don't feel it, and it somehow it makes sense. There's maybe some other albums that you would say, you know, that doesn't make sense, that's out of place. Not with this release, it makes total sense. And there's a song like Closer, which was a single that they released, and it's another serene song. You feel like you could like walk through a beach and listen to that song. It's really relaxing. There's a lot of like prog rock elements to it, like very like Anathema, like I mentioned on another song before. And then there's a song that's called Drip, that to me, that is the album highlight for me. That song starts with some industrial sound noises that keeps building up, and the noises keep on going like through a 1 minute mark and more. It reminded me a lot of Nine Inch Nails, especially on their Not the Current Events EP. I think that's the name of the EP. There's a lot of like noises built into it, and it starts building, and then it goes full on like shoegazy meets black metal. I thought of a lot of like a band like Death Haven for this song, because it reminded me a little bit about that band. But Rolo Tomassi has been around longer than that band, so that's a song that's very good on the album. So to me, there's the highlight of this album is Eva Spence, the singer of the band. This is a singer that she can have the most melodic, clean singing. She sounds like an angel whispering in your ear, and all of a sudden she gets possessed by a demon, and it's the other way around. It's the yin and the yang. And how Eva Spence handles her vocals on this album is really something quite remarkable, because it's amazing how she goes from one extreme to the next. And she sounds great with clean vocals, and she sounds great on the harsh vocals. She's just a very talented, versatile singer, and to me, one of the highlights of this album. Another of the highlight of this album for me is the flow of the album, how it flows, the atmospherics. It's an unpredictable album. It has like that Dillinger Escape Plan type of vibe to it, that you never know where it's gonna go next. And to me, that makes it a really exciting album and unique. They're a unique band. Rolo Tomassi, I don't think there's a lot of bands that sound like them right now, and that's something that is great. But to me, there's only one little tiny negative that I found about this album, and that's on the song Stumbling, which is like a 2 minute and 35-minute song. It has more like piano on it, more softly, and it's not a bad song, but it's almost at the end of the album. It's like track number 8, if I'm not mistaken, and to me, it like cut the flow of the album a little bit, like it put the brakes. And even though it's good, I think it would have been better suited like more earlier in the album. It could have been like an album opener, if you think about it, and it would have worked better for me. But still, great album. I like how Eva Spence on those cleans and more mellow songs, her feelings, they show how emotional and vulnerable she can get in those tracks, and that to me is something that makes this album great. So if you like the reviews that I'm making, give me a like, follow me, subscribe here on my page, support my channel, and comment. What did you like? What did you like about this album? What did you think about Rolo Tomassi? Did you just discover them? Let's talk about it and chat. And it's always great to discover great new bands. And until next time, I'll see you right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.